Welcome back to D-Machine. Here on this channel, we explore the machines, factories, and production lines that quietly shape the modern world. From heavy industry to everyday tools we often take for granted. Today's video takes us inside a factory in China, where one of the most trusted security devices is made, the U-Lock. In this video, we'll follow the complete production process, from raw steel to a finished, tested lock, and see how durability is built step by step. Every U-Lock begins with solid steel rod, hot-rolled and coiled at the steel mill. In this first stage, the steel enters the factory as thick wire, its surface still rough from rolling and oxidation. Before shaping can begin, the steel is pulled through heavy straightening rollers. This process aligns the rod, stabilizes its diameter, and prepares it for precision forming. As the steel moves through the machine, flakes of surface scale break away and fall below, a clear sign of its first mechanical processing. The rod is then cut into straight sections of exact length. Each piece will determine the final size, strength, and durability of the U-Lock. Once prepared, the steel bars are neatly stacked, ready for the next step, bending the iconic U-shape. After cutting, each steel rod moves into the machining stage. Here, the ends of the rods are precisely shaped using automated lathes. As the steel spins at high speed, cutting tools gradually remove material, forming a clean, tapered point at each end. This process serves a critical purpose. The pointed ends allow the steel to move smoothly through bending dies and forming machines in later stages, reducing friction and preventing surface damage. Throughout machining, metal shavings are continuously removed, ensuring clean cuts and consistent geometry. Even small variations at this stage could affect alignment during bending. Once machining is complete, the rods are inspected visually and stacked in uniform bundles. Every piece must match the same dimensions before moving forward. With their ends precisely formed, the steel rods are now fully prepared for shaping into the U-Lock's final structure. With the steel rods fully prepared, production now moves to surface texturing. At this stage, skilled operators feed each rod into dedicated machining stations. As the steel rotates, cutting tools press firmly against its surface, carving precise patterns directly into the metal. These grooves and indentations are not decorative. They serve an important function by increasing friction and resistance, making the lock harder to grip, cut, or twist using hand tools. The process requires careful control. Too much pressure could weaken the steel, while too little would reduce the effectiveness of the texture. Metal shavings collect beneath the machine as excess material is removed in a controlled manner. Once machined, the rods are visually inspected and grouped together. Each surface pattern must be consistent along the entire length of the steel. By the end of this stage, the steel has gained one of its key security features, a hardened, textured surface designed to resist tampering and forced attacks. With surface texturing complete, the steel rods now move into forming. At this stage, operators manually feed each rod into heavy forming machines. Using controlled force, the straight steel is bent into its characteristic U shape. This process requires precision. The radius of each bend must remain consistent to ensure proper alignment later. Some forming steps are assisted by press machines, where the steel is guided into fixed dies and shaped under steady pressure. The goal is not speed, but uniformity. Any deviation here would compromise the lock's fit and strength. Once bent, the ends of the U-shaped rods are machined again. Small slots and profiles are cut near the tips, allowing the lock to engage correctly with its locking mechanism. These features must be positioned with millimeter accuracy. During machining, cutting fluid and metal chips are carefully managed to keep surfaces clean and prevent overheating. Each piece is checked visually before moving forward. After forming and slotting, the U-shaped bodies are grouped together and aligned on racks. At this point, the lock has taken on its final structural form, strong, rigid, and ready for heat treatment and hardening in the next stage. Once the U-shaped bodies are fully formed, they move into surface finishing. At this stage, each lock is carefully hung onto metal racks by hand. Proper spacing is critical. The parts must not touch during coating, or the finish could become uneven. The racks are then transferred into a controlled coating area. Here, the steel surfaces are evenly sprayed with a protective layer designed to resist corrosion, moisture, and long-term wear. As the coating is applied, fine mist fills the chamber, ensuring full coverage across every curve and edge of the U-shape. This layer not only protects the steel, but also improves grip and appearance. After coating, the locks pass through a curing process, where heat and airflow allow the finish to harden and bond to the metal. Once cured, the surface becomes smooth, uniform, and durable, creating a final protective barrier that prepares the lock for assembly and long-term outdoor use. After coating, the U-lock bodies enter the curing and hardening stage. Loaded onto steel racks, hundreds of locks are carefully arranged to ensure even airflow and consistent temperature exposure. The racks are then rolled into an industrial curing oven. Once sealed, the chamber is brought up to a precisely controlled temperature. Digital controllers continuously monitor the heat, maintaining stable conditions throughout the process. Inside the oven, the protective coating begins to cure. Heat causes the material to bond permanently to the steel surface, forming a tough, resilient outer layer. This step is critical. Proper curing ensures the finish will not crack, peel, or soften when exposed to outdoor conditions, moisture, or repeated use. After the cycle is complete, the racks are removed and allowed to cool naturally. The coating hardens into a smooth, uniform surface, locking in both durability and appearance. At this point, the U-lock bodies are fully formed, fully protected, and ready for final assembly and inspection. While the U-lock bodies are being cured, production continues with the lock sleeves. Steel tubes are fed into automated cutting machines, where each section is trimmed to an exact length. Precision is critical here. Even minor variation could affect how the locking core fits and operates. As the tube rotates, cutting tools remove material cleanly, producing smooth, uniform edges. Sparks mark the moment the cut is completed, signaling a clean separation. Once cut, the sleeves are collected and sorted. Each piece is visually checked for straightness, surface quality, and consistent dimensions. These sleeves will later house the internal locking mechanism, protecting it from impact, dirt, and tampering. With cutting complete, the finished sleeves are ready to move into final assembly alongside the hardened U-lock bodies. In the final stage, attention turns to the heart of the lock, the locking mechanism itself. Steel sleeves are positioned into assembly fixtures, where precise holes and slots are punched and drilled. These openings allow the lock core to seat correctly and engage securely. Each cylinder is then machined and fitted by hand. Workers carefully align internal components, ensuring smooth rotation and accurate key engagement. Metal chips are removed continuously to maintain clean tolerances. Once assembled, keys are inserted and tested. Every lock must open and close smoothly, without binding or resistance. This step verifies both mechanical precision and reliability. Completed cylinders are grouped together, each paired with its matching keys. Any unit that fails inspection is removed immediately for adjustment or rework. With assembly and inspection complete, the U-lock is ready for final packaging. The result of carefully controlled manufacturing, skilled hands, and attention to detail at every stage. In the final stage, all components come together by hand. The hardened U-lock body is paired with its locking sleeve and internal core. Workers carefully align each part, inserting pins, connectors, and retaining elements one step at a time. Every movement here requires accuracy. The position of each pin determines how smoothly the lock will engage and how securely it will resist forced entry. Once assembled, the locking mechanism is tested immediately. Keys are inserted, turned, and removed repeatedly to verify smooth operation and proper engagement. Any resistance, misalignment, or irregular movement is corrected on the spot. The lock is then secured permanently. Fasteners are pressed or hammered into place, fixing the core firmly inside the steel housing. This step ensures the mechanism cannot be removed or tampered with once installed. Final visual checks follow. Workers inspect alignment, surface finish, and key fit before approving each unit. Only locks that pass every test move forward. With assembly complete, the U-lock is finished. The result of precision machining, controlled processing, and skilled manual work at every stage. In the final step, completed locks undergo visual inspection and functional checks. Approved units are packaged, boxed, and prepared for shipment. What began as raw steel is now a finished security product, ready for real-world use. The story of the U-Lock is not about complexity. It's about discipline, strong materials, careful machining, repetition, skilled hands. In factories like this, durability is built one step at a time, following methods that haven't changed much in decades. If you enjoy seeing how real things are made, the machines, the people, and the processes behind everyday tools, subscribe to D-Machine and stay with us as we continue exploring the industrial world, one factory at a time. Thanks for watching.